Hello everybody, today is Thursday the 31st of August and I tried another diorama with different borders and stuff. So I had different struggles and things, but I found solutions and I will show that to you right now. So here's the whole diorama set, and I have those in those binder sleeves, and I'm grabbing all the things that I need to cut out. So I have the borders 4 times, 2 side panels, 2 front and back panels, the things to glue it on. Then I did cut out clouds of the border panels and those tiny things because I thought I needed those to make it stop, because the cloudy border got a bit smaller but didn't work out in the end. The plan was to have borders on top and the bottom, so I cut out other grassy borders with the grassy border die, and now I needed to make 4 slits on top and the bottom. They just worked out. I thought it got a bit tiny, or the gap in between is small. That's why I made very small grassy borders, which will lead to some problems later on. Here I just fold the side panels and put them together on the back a bit so they don't move when I put the stencil on, which is from Fawn. And I use red, orange and green of the Fine Clear ink to try to make a nice stencil thingy. Yeah. And I wanted the stencil to be seamless, that's why I adhered those 2 panels from the back. Then I do the same to the front panel, because you see the front panel where I cut the hole in later on, but I always do that later after the ink blending, because it's easier to ink blend a whole panel than a frame. And that will show around the other panel, around this one. So now I line up the other stencil, and I'm using brown and green. There's brown for some twigs and a knot, so I'm trying to find those things, and the rest I just fill in with green. And then again I do the same to the panel, which will be the border in the end. And now I needed to let it dry a bit before I can go on with that. But I got time to do the other one, again with the brown for the twigs and the knot, and the green for the rest. And I use the brushes. I like brushes for stencils. And here I am using Lucky Clover ink oxide, and I just dab it on because it's so flimsy. I think circles wouldn't have worked well. And this is Lucky Clover, Cracked Pistachio and Salty Ocean for the background panel. I'm doing a very quick blend there, and then I take that apart. Those will be the sides when you open it, and they will go like that. So I had to check where will the green go, and the pistachio. It's hard to say it because it's an Italian word, and in German we say pistache, and I don't know how it is in English. So pistachio, pistachio, I don't know. So here I also take a Salty Ocean for the cloudy borders, and then they got way too dark, so I took the Fawn Yeti white, and I just dabbed that on it and muted that blue down, and that worked out well. Then again I need speckles to make things nicer. So I use green and yellow, orange and white. Those are the perfect pearls. I love those things. I have them in all the colors. And I have those tiny, tiny honey jars, which were in the advent calendar of my dad, which I gave him 2 years ago, I think. On the side, you see my puzzle. I tried to just cover it a bit. Then I take the Lawn Fawn mice, the Autumn No, I think. And then I realized I had some colored already, so I didn't have to stamp them all. I stamped other ones that I didn't have colored yet, and a few leaves. And then I'm going to color those first with Copics. I have the C3 and C4 there, and later on I get the C2 to fill in a bit lighter gray. My images often get very, very dark, so it's not my best skill, the ink blending. And those are E01, I think, and E97. And the same for the next mouse. And I wanted to make a pink foot and pink nose for the E97. They're in the brown category, but they're kind of salmon or orangey. Then those leaves, I just didn't want to think about it. I'm not good at that. I just grabbed those 4 colors. I have yellow, orange, red and green, and just put them somewhere. And then with the next leaf, I think I just tried to color over everything because there's no blending in between the colors. I don't like it, but that didn't look better with going over it with green. Then I have the coordinating die cuts, and I cut them all out. Prepare them first. And I keep them in the original packaging. I have the stamps on one side, and on the other side I put a magnetic thingy, and there I keep the die cuts. I had different systems, but this is kind of good that you find it easy. So I cut them all out, put them back, and I have very good magnets because they are from a store for workers, and it's quite good magnet for a good price. Here I line up the panel for the frame, and so I'm so sorry. I needed to attach those again in the back because I want to stamp something over that gap in the middle. And the frame I used to see where the stamp should go. And it says, Herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag. Same as the last one. All the best for your birthday, or hearty congratulations to your birthday. And then I stamped that with Ursa mark after having used the anti-static powder, and I used some black embossing powder to make it visible on that patterned background. Then I use my heating gun to melt it all down, and then there you will see it's all shiny. That means all the powder is melted properly. That's good. So I can take it apart again. And here are all the parts I need to assemble now. So I score the other line of the side panel and will adhere that on the side of onto the back panel. I use some score tape, and then I just lined it up with a side thingy. There's a little gap on top and the bottom because it will be in the middle of the arms that hold it, the paper arms, and those need a little space on top and the bottom of the panel. Then I put the grassy borders in. They are not perfect. I would do that differently the next time, but I will tell that to you later on in the video. Here you see I cut those clouds and then they got lower. Also, when you put them on top, it doesn't work because it needs a straight line for those things to go in and out. Hard to explain. But when you turn it upside down, it doesn't work out. I thought I could just put those stoppers at the end and a little bit more so it would be on the right height. But that doesn't work because it doesn't go onto those steps. So later on, I will figure something out for that. And now I have a stupid tickle in my throat. It's going to be a bit troublesome. There I thought I'd just do it differently. I take those and ink blend them. And then I realized no, it doesn't work either because the straight edge will not be on the bottom. And then I had the idea. I'm taking acetate and I will glue on or adhere those clouds onto that acetate, and then it can be on that border. And therefore, with the straight edge of the acetate, the clouds can go in and out of those side panels. And I should do the same thing for the grassy borders. I figured that out by the end of the video in my conclusion. I did not think of that here because I thought they're actually tiny enough and they're on the bottom. So it's not that they needed to be higher or something. You just need to open and close that thing straight, vertically, or the grassy things would not go through the slits. Yeah, so I'm adhering the second one onto acetate. Very, very happy about that solution. So if you want to do different borders, do that. Use acetate, adhere anything on it, and then that works out. on top and on the bottom. So it was a bit hard to get them in there. It didn't need the paper edge on the left and right. It had the acetate, but I still kept that. So there I had to put the... that fell out a lot, that grassy thing. So I tried just to do the stoppers with that one, which is kind of fine. But again, it can move up and down the grassy border, and then it would jam the mechanism. And if you put it on acetate, they cannot move up. So, but it kind of works. So here are those paper arms I mentioned before. I put some, I scored them nicely, and then I put some score tape on that too. And that's why the side panels are 1 millimeter shorter on top and the bottom, because they need to fiddle. They need to file through those, go through those things. So I'm lining them up with a notch, and then I just put those, take off the paper thingy and just fold them in. And now I could already put everything together, put the sides through those paper arms and try it out. It was not always easy. And here I thought of another thing. I had the problem that those side panels went out of those paper arms all the time. So I thought I make a little hinge that will stop those to go out of it again. Sometimes that works, and sometimes they go out at the same time. So I tested it a lot, and there it jammed again. And then I it always jammed a bit. And then I figured out it was the things I just put down. So I put some sellotape over it, Scotch tape, so those won't interfere with the mechanism. And then it's just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's why I should have put the borders, the grassy borders, onto acetate too, because that was often the problem. And now I need to figure out where to put my things. I didn't dare to do too much on the inside, so I just went for that mouse that flies on that leaf and put it on the front cloudy border with a liquid glue, tested it. It closes, so I pushed it down more, and then the rest I did on the outside. I wanted a bit more, but didn't dare to put stuff on the inside, so I just put that on the bottom left corner. I closed it to see if it works with the sentiment, if it's still visible, and opened it if it works with the mouse that's on the inside. And then I love those flying mice. I like the one a lot. I put on the down left. I don't see it right now. But, and this one, the flying one and the other one are my favorites. The one, in the pile of leaves, and the one on the leaf. And there, I think I lost the border again, and that's it. And here it is, finished. It has some troubles and problems with opening and closing, because those grassy borders are shorter than the slit, and when you close it like this, then it doesn't work. But if you do it vertically, it works. And those are, so it doesn't fall out of the thing all the time. It helps a bit. I don't dare to put anything else in there. And that was to test if it works with grassy borders or the clouds I put on the acetate. I'm so happy about the solution. That's great. And one could do the same thing for the grass. And that will make it easier. But maybe I'll do that later. But yeah, sure. If you want to do those borders, just do the same. Cut the normal one out of acetate and put what you want on it. So that's a cool solution. Okay, so, and voila. C'est fini. Or ta-da! Because it's actually the ta-da diorama. I find it hard to decorate inside though. But yeah, okay, so. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.